Hello everybody, my name is Smarty, short for Smarty Reads, and welcome back. Today I'm going to read chapter 4 of Happy Birthday Mallory. It's called The Whole Story. Before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you know when I upload a new video. Also, share this video with your friends and family so they can watch me read as well. Other than that, let's begin. The Whole Story. Good morning, class, says Mrs. Daly. How was everyone's weekend? Room 310 fills up with goods and greats and supers and terrifics. There are even a few amazings, but I'm quiet. I wouldn't describe the first weekend of my birth month as good or great or super or terrific and definitely not amazing. What did everyone do? asks Mrs. Daly. I went ice skating, says Joey. Me too, says Pete. I took a violin lesson, calls out Pamela. We went shopping, says Danielle. Shoe shopping. Both girls stick their feet in the air to show the class their matching sneakers. Mrs. Daly smiles at Danielle and Ariel's feet. Then she smiles at me. Mallory, what did you do this weekend? All I can think about is what I didn't do. Nothing, I mumble. Well, I'm sure you did something, says Mrs. Daly. She picks up a piece of chalk and writes what I did this weekend on the chalkboard. Class, this morning I'd like you all to write a one-page essay on what you did this weekend. Use details about what happened to make the reader feel like they were there with you. Everyone took out paper and pencils, but not me. I didn't get out anything to write because I don't have anything to write about. Mrs. Daly comes over to my desk. Having trouble getting started? And then at the top there's Mrs. Daly and all the other students. I nod. Think for a minute, says Mrs. Daly. You'll come up with something. I know what Mallory can write about, says Pamela. She's turning 9 soon. She can write about what she did this weekend to celebrate her birthday. Pamela winks at me like she knows what I did this weekend. But what Pamela doesn't know is that I didn't do anything. And at the top there are more students. Mrs. Daly clears her throat. Mallory, what do you think of that idea? I think about my weekend. I didn't get a cake. I tried to talk my mom to getting my ears pierced, but that didn't work either. Mrs. Daly, would it be okay if I write about what I didn't do this weekend? And at the top there's Mrs. Daly, Pamela, and Mallory. Mrs. Daly says if that's what I remember about my weekend, then I can certainly write about it. Then I take out a sheet of paper and begin. The Whole Story by Mallory MacDonald. Our author's note. You will need tissues when you read this story. It is very sad. Once upon a time there was a little girl who was about to turn 9. All she wanted for her birthday were 2 little holes, one in each ear. So one weekend she asked her mother if she could get those 2 little holes. Her mother said, No, you may not have 2 little holes, one in each ear, until you turn 12. So the little girl did what any little girl was about to turn nice, and wanted something really, really badly would do. She begged and pleaded with her mother. Her mother still said no. Then the little girl scrubbed the floor. That's how she spent her weekend, scrubbing the floor. She hoped this would get her mother to change her mind. At the bottom there's a little girl scrubbing the floor. But guess what? It didn't work. Her mother still said no. This was mean and cruel of her mother, don't you think? So the little girl offered to pay for the holes in her ears with her very own allowance money and eat spinach if her mother would let her get those 2 tiny little holes. But her mother still said no. The little girl was starting to think things were hopeless, but she didn't give up. She told her mother that the only thing she would need to make her birth month, which hadn't been so great so far, extra special, would be these 2 little holes. You wouldn't believe what happened next. You will never ever guess. Her mother still said no, and to top it off, she sent the girl to her room for not listening the first time. When that happened, a tear ran down the girl's cheek. She had no choice but to wipe it away and move on with her life. The moral of the story is that mothers should not say no to their children because it makes them very sad. The end. When I finished my story, I looked at my desk mate. Pamela is still busy writing. I put my head down on my desk. I knew my birth month wasn't going so well, but I didn't realize how bad it was until now. I close my eyes and do what I do when I make sure something to happen, and I'm not sure I'm going to. I pretend like I'm at the wish pond on my street and make a wish. I wish that the second week of my birth month will be better than the first week. I try to draw a picture in my brain of a cookie cake with rainbow writing that I want for my second cake of the week. When I know exactly what it looks like, I pretend to throw a wish pebble in the wish pond. I sure hope my wish comes true. That's the end of that chapter. I'll see you next time when I read Half Birthdays. Bye, everyone.